If you're interested in stories like these that remind you that we live in a world filled with serial killers, and some of them are even after your children, like in this story, you might want to stick around to the end and see how this story unfolds. The new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. If you're ready, let's get started. 1913, in the country of Denmark. This was a different era for women. Many women did not have the rights that they have now, and were also held to an unrealistic standard. Society expected women to cook, clean, and be submissive, and also, importantly, be virgins. That is, if you expected to become married. Disclaimer, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling the story here. Any woman that fell short of this standard would be looked upon as disgrace to her family and community. Of course, this did not stop the women. Yes, they even had freaks back then. So many women found themselves pregnant and were desperate to make themselves good prospects for matrimony. Unfortunately, most of these cases, women would murder their own children. This was more common than not. It was very common back then to find dead bodies dumped in rivers, trash cans, and toilets, buried in rear yards, or just alive and left outside to die. Crazy. These women disposed of babies like used condoms. Illegal abortions were high risk to women, caused them to become infertile or wind up being killed from those botched abortions. Some people found their own willing adoptive parents, and the rest would turn them over to adoption agencies. The adoption agencies profited off of these women, having them pay monthly installments, or in some cases a lump sum payment, in order to care for their babies. This usually lasted until a willing couple would come along and adopt their child. The year 1916, one agency in particular, which name was not provided, placed an ad in the local newspaper. I'm paraphrasing now. Stated that any woman who made a mistake and gave birth to a child could deliver their child to this agency for a fee. The child would be cared for, looked after, and be placed in a warm and loving dual-parent home. The proprietor of the agency went by the name of Dagmar Overby. Rasmund Jensen was the first client to answer this call. She had just given birth to a child and was unwed. Rasmund believed she was doing the right thing for her and her child. She wasn't financially prepared to deal with the child on her own, and wasn't psychologically prepared to deal with the stigma of being a single parent. Rasmund brought her child to Dagmar's agency and was reassured that her child would be well taken care of by her new parents. She was in love with her child, but realized that the child would be better off in a stable home. Dagmar professed to have many connections throughout the area with women who had previously had abortions and lost their ability to conceive children. Now that those women are married, they were seeking to have children of their own. Rasmund paid the required sum, would cover all the child's expenses until the new parents adopted their newborn child. Many women saw this advertisement and felt empowered that they could have a second guilt-free chance after having a mistake by giving birth to a child while being unwed. For the next 4 years, over a dozen women partook of the program for a second chance. In 1920, a woman by the name of Caroline Agenson dropped off her child at the agency with hopes that someone would adopt her child. Caroline paid the required fee to Miss Dagmar and left. Throughout the evening, Caroline couldn't sleep because she was so overwhelmed with grief. This is probably because she knew that she would never be able to see her child again. The following day, she had a change of heart and returned to the agency. Caroline requested to have her child returned to her. Miss Dagmar informed Caroline that her child was already with the new parents and there was nothing that could be done at this point. Caroline got upset and would not accept no for an answer and demanded to have the child returned to her. You guys already know. If these were current times, she would have got beaten up at that point. Dagmar stated that Caroline had legally gave up her right to her child. Caroline angrily stormed out and went directly to the police station. She returned with the police and Dagmar was asked to explain herself. Dagmar gave inconsistent explanations spanning from the parents' names to the company policy. The police did an immediate search of the area and found dead babies all over. Some were in boxes, some were wrapped in clothing and stuffed at the bottom of a closet. One was stuffed in a wash pail. Caroline's baby was found in the furnace along with several other babies' bones. Dagmar Overby was arrested, it was determined that she was never licensed to have an adoption agency, nor even work in the field of adoption. The police determined also that Dagmar was in prison during most of her fraudulent company's existence. On several occasions, she was arrested for theft, and she had a drug addiction. In between each prison sentence, she would come out, place an advertisement in the paper on behalf of her fake agency in order to get women to deliver their children. This was so that she can collect the fees and kill the babies. Dagmar was interviewed, and she confessed to killing as many as 16 children. She also admitted that her drug addiction drove her to murder. She acknowledged that the babies were killed immediately after each mother left the fake agency. She admitted that she enjoyed strangling the life out of every child she encountered. She enjoyed hearing the babies gurgling for their last breath. She admitted to strangling them to death or drowning them in a wash bucket. A few of the children were buried in the local cemetery. A psychiatric evaluation was completed on Dagmar, and she was found to be sane. Sane? Really? A woman that enjoys killing babies like stray cats is absolutely nuts. Dagmar even admitted to killing her own child by strangling the life out of it, then burned the body in her furnace. The media got a hold of this story, then ran it. As many as 20 heartbroken mothers came forward looking for their missing children. For years, they believed that their children were living happy lives and were being well taken care of. The police could not locate the bodies of the additional missing children, but it was believed that Dagmar killed more than she claimed. Ultimately, she was only charged with 9 infant deaths. Dagmar went to trial and was found guilty on all 9 deaths and was given the death penalty. Later, it was overturned and she was given a life sentence in prison. Dagmar died in prison in 1929 at the age of 42. So hit the like button, subscribe, and notification button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. God bless you and stay safe.